If you're looking for picks and predictions for the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Formula One, IndyCar, Craftsman Truck Series this weekend, well, you're watching the right video. Welcome to Track Record, my official betting and prediction show here on my channel. If you're new here, I'm John, the Motorsports Enthusiast. If you're not new here, ciao, welcome back. Let's just dive right into it, starting with the Craftsman Truck Series at IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park. My two picks for this weekend's race, Ty Majeski top 3 and Lane Riggs top 5, and here's why. In the last 3 starts, Ty Majeski has 2 wins, 2 top 5s, and an average finish of 3.3 with the lowest finish of P8. That's why I'm picking him as a top 3. I think there's going to be other contenders in this race. Maybe Corey Heim can finally get back on track. But I think the driver that I'm picking as a top 5 might have the best chance to actually get it done. And that top 5 pick is Lane Riggs. In the last 3 starts, he has no wins, but 2 top 5s, average finish of 5th, and a lowest finish of 7th. So he's been a little bit more consistent, just hasn't had the wins stacking up like Ty Majeski has. Either way, I don't think that's going to knock him at all. I'm going to go with Mr. Lane Riggs. If I have to get a winning pick, it'll be Lane Riggs this weekend. But these are my 2 locks for this weekend. Ty Majeski, top 3. Lane Riggs, top 5. Craftsman Truck Series at IRP. Next, we're going to talk about the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Indianapolis. Now, I know Kyle Larson's racing. He's going to be the outright favorite. I'm not going to go that way, though. I'm going to go with these 2 other drivers. One is Eric Almirola, top 3. In only 1 start, we only have 1 race to look at. He has an average finish of 3rd, lowest finish of 3rd, in 1 top 5 because there's only 1 race. And the reason why I'm picking Eric is because no matter what he drives in the Xfinity Series, no matter where he drives, he's always fast. I think he wants to do 2 positions better, probably going to possibly battle for a win, but it's going to be very, very tight with Kyle Larson in the field. Now, a little bit of a sleeper pick that I think can get a top 10 this weekend is Ryan Sieg. Last year, he started, or his last start at Indianapolis, he finished in 11th, and he had strong pace in Dover carrying over into this weekend. I think he's going to have a lot of speed in that car. It looks like he could finish up in the top 10, maybe even a top 5 if things go his way. I'm going to go Ryan Sieg, top 10, Eric Almirola, top 3. And if I have to give a pick this weekend, it's hard to go against Kyle Larson, but I think Eric Almirola actually could get the job done. So if I'm going to give a winning pick, it's going to be Eric Almirola. Now let's move on to the NASCAR Cup Series, and this is where things get a little bit spicy. So I am going to pick Kyle Larson to win this race. Last year, he started 5th, got the dub. But these last 3 picks are going to be pretty interesting. So Brad Keselowski, I'm going to pick him to finish in the top 5. He finished 21st last year, but he led 35 laps, and I'm going to emphasize that. Parlay that with the fact that they've had a lot of speed over the last few weeks, had speed in Pocono. I think this could be a race where Brad Keselowski and RFK could break through into the top 5. Multiple cars up there in the top 5, more than likely Brad K and Chris Buescher there. So Brad Keselowski, top 5. I'm also going to go Ricky Stenhouse Jr., top 10. Last year, he started 9th, finished in 11th. It seems like he's all around this top 8 to top 12 conversation almost every week. Not almost every week. The last few weeks, he's been in that conversation at some point in the race. I think this track, those suits his driving style. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., top 10. And then I'm going to say Ty Dillon gets a top 15, and he's going to win this in-season tournament. I think Ty Dillon somehow is going to pull something, a rabbit out of a hat, or going to have a lucky rabbit's foot or something on board that car. And actually, if you look back at last year, he actually finished better than Ty Gibbs in this race. Now, again, last year was a little bit of a crazy race. I think this year is going to be a little bit more mellow, but I think Ty Dillon will finish in the top 15 and lock himself in and win that in-season challenge. Let me know also your thoughts on all of these picks and who your picks are after every single series I go through, especially the trucks and the Xfinity and Cup now. Let's move on to a completely different sport. Let's move on to the open wheel series. Let's start actually with Formula One. And so I have 2 things to say here. 1, if it rains, I have picks. 2, if it doesn't rain, I have picks. If it rains, I think it's going to be open to floodgates literally for anybody to win. Maybe Lando, Max, Lewis. Those are my 3 drivers I'm looking at. Now, Lewis did have a terrible quali run in the sprint qualifying. He actually locked it up going into the second to last corner. But I think that car will be fast. We will see what it looks like, though. If it doesn't rain, my top 3 prediction is Oscar, Lando, Max podium with a Lando Norris win. I think Lando... Actually, no, I'm going to change that on the fly. I think Oscar Piastri is going to win. I'm going to change that now. Actually, that order, Oscar, Lando, Max, that's my 1, 2, 3 podium. Because I think Oscar is just still the faster car in really the wet and the dry, but Lando somehow seems to win all the wet races this year. So if it is wet, I would go Lando. If it's dry, I'm going to go Oscar. But McLaren is going to do what McLaren does. They are so strong. They brought upgrades. It seems to be better than everybody else again. And I think that they are a little bit ahead of the game after having some practice runs with their current upgrade in Silverstone a couple weeks ago. I think it's going to be the McLaren show again. Now let's move on to IndyCar, the last series I'm going to talk about here. And these two drivers, some of the more veteran drivers in the series, but I think they could lock in a top 3 and a top 5. And those two guys, Will Power, top 3. He has 3 top 4 finishes in the last 5 races at Laguna Seca. And Scott Dixon gets a top 5. Now, before making this video, I had Scott Dixon getting the win. I just don't think that's the case. After looking at some of the numbers, he does have 1 win here back a few years ago. I just don't see it. Now, he did have speed in Toronto, and he does finish very consistently within the top 10, around the top 10 at road courses this year. Obviously, getting the win over Palou, but I don't see him as a winning contender. I think he could battle in the top 5. I think he's going to do one better than last year and finish in the top 5. But Will Power, I think Will Power is going to put it on him this weekend. And if I had to give a winning pick, I don't like doing this, but Alex Palou, I don't think can be beat. He has the strategy. He has the speed. I think Palou gets it done, but maybe Power will Dixon or maybe Colton Herta will do something and shock the wavelengths of IndyCar, or maybe Pato O'Ward. Pato O'Ward's another driver I would look at this weekend, trying to carry momentum from the previous couple races, locking in a couple wins, especially in Toronto. I still think, Alex Palou is the driver to beat. Well, that's going to wrap up today's track record episode. I'm going to go through all the picks one more time just to summarize. Ty Majeski, top 3 in the Craftsman Truck Series. Lane Riggs, top 5 in the Craftsman Truck Series. Indy Xfinity Series, Eric Almirola, top 3 at Indianapolis, with Ryan Sieg at a top 10. NASCAR Cup Series, Kyle Larson win. Brad Kate, top 5. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., top 10. And Ty Dillon, top 15. Formula One, if it rains, Lando Max Lewis win. If it doesn't rain, Oscar, Lando Max podium in that order. And then IndyCar, Will Power, top 3. Scott Dixon, top 5. Appreciate you all for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe. And this video is going to go out a little bit later than I want it to. It's going to go up, honestly, probably right before the Truck Series race. So if you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday, just go to the see what the results look like, because all those races besides Xfinity and trucks are going to be on Sunday. Formula One, NASCAR, Cup Series, and IndyCar. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Ciao. Now I got to stop recording.